So I'm going to move on now to the 4 conference themes and just touch on each of them briefly. And I think I've spoken quite a bit, as has Sizwe, to the first. So I won't dwell on that too long. I'm sure everyone knows the advantages of that. Basically, what we're going to be looking at through the conferences is partnerships between government, corporate, and civil society. Each brings different skills, resources, and expertise to the table. I think corporates are well-resourced, extremely competent, but not development specialists, and nor should they be expected to be. And I think a lot of the development expertise sits in civil society and in the non-profit sector, but here it seems like you're facing an insurmountable set of challenges with very limited resources. And we've got the government, who has the primary responsibility for this development, but is hamstrung at times by its own bureaucratic processes. So as part of our survey each year of the corporates, we do ask about partnerships. And again, this is a fairly busy graph, but what it shows you is that, and this is looking at which partnerships corporates have and in what form they take. As you would expect, the majority of kind of formal or arranged partnerships are with the non-profit community. But what we have seen is a growth in those second and third bars and an increasing number of formal partnerships with national, provincial, and local government. So I think that's an encouraging trend that we've seen, and one that we will delve into further during the conference. And I think Sizwe touched on the bottom 2 as well, and spoke about the difficulty that he's found in partnering with other corporates. And I think this, you can see this in this chart, that corporates in the own industry sector and corporates in other industry sector is where we see the fewest amount of partnerships, certainly the fewest amount of formalized partnerships. So I'm moving on to the second theme of the conference, which is around alignment. And again, I think Sizwe's made the point about what he defines as strategic CSI. And it's very similar to how we would define strategic CSI, which is basically a mutually beneficial approach to CSI, where the company benefits as well as society. So it's aligning those interests between the different partners that we've spoken about. Now, there's a number of different ways that corporates can do this, and how they can align their CSI to their business. I think one of the most common is probably the geographical alignment, and this is particularly relevant in resource companies, where you see the CSI activity happening largely around the areas of operation. And obviously this is beneficial for the local area development, but it also is very beneficial for the resource company's employees and the business itself. Another way of aligning CSI to the business is to align it to the core business or the core competence of what your company does. So if we think here of retail organizations that might focus on food security, and that might include a large portion of product donation as part of their CSI. Or if we think of telecommunication firms that are working on innovative mobile or other technologies to address pressing social needs. That's another way, a very strong way, where the resources of the business, including the technical expertise, can be used for the benefit of society and of development. There are other ways of aligning. Some companies align their CSI to their business in terms of values. So they may have a value of being a very innovative company, and as such they fund innovative CSI programs. Or they may align according to stakeholders. So they may work with their largest customer or supplier. And the benefit that they get from that is improved stakeholder relationships, while at the same time it has a development benefit.